Assignment 4 for strategic planning, section 1. The first question was, which lesson stood out to you the most? And the lesson that stood out to me the most was the campfire lesson. I was drawn, that comparison or analogy, I was drawn to that because you think of a tree being chopped down. And when a tree's chopped down, you've done all the necessary work, you've planned the tree being chopped down, you've went and got the permits for the tree to be chopped down, you've got the right materials, you cut it the proper angle, and you chop the tree down, the tree falls, and after the tree falls, then you cut the tree into different pieces uh, or chunks, and the tree's in different pieces. But for the most part, you've put a lot of energy and you've exhausted a lot of energy, but the tree is the same. It's just in different pieces. It really hasn't changed much. Maybe the way you look at the tree, of course, has changed. But when you think of that, and you think of the fact that the tree, if you can take that wood, or you can take it sticks, whatever it might be, and you can transfer this energy. A chemical reaction takes place when you start burning this tree, or taking the wood and cutting it to pieces and put it on a fire, and all of a sudden you've got these small sparks, these ambers that start going, and after a while it starts flaming up, and you've got a huge bonfire. And this chemical reaction has been used to heat you up, to heat you can cook with cook with a fire, whatever it might be. So it's a completely different resource than when it started out. The heat is transferred because of this chemical reaction. And you think of that, and I think of schools that do the same thing day in and day out. And they might dress things up differently, but the same process happens, and there's really no chemical reaction. There's nothing that's taking place. And I like what Frontier and Tony say in the 5 levers to improve learning. They say this: the interaction that unleashes a change in matter only occurs when standards, strategies, and conceptualizations of self are used as the catalyst. Everything has to change. Standards has to change, strategies have to change, training has to change, and the way you respond and interact with students to see that change actually come to fruition and take place. So that's the analogy that I liked. The second question is what I can compare this lesson to in my previous experiences. I've been a part of schools in the last 25 or 20 years or so that have been unwilling to make changes. They're comfortable in their own box, so to speak, and they say the old adage, well, we've done it this way for 50 years and we're not going to change anything. Everyone around you, all the other schools have adapted to these different changes. They've used different tools and methods and have different results. And I've seen students and families leave schools because of outdated curriculum and standards. Florida Department of Education has changed their standards, but the school unfortunately keeps their standards and doesn't change. And as a result of that, the school dies out. So when I think of that, I think of a school that's not willing to change. It's more wood being chopped and just sitting on the ground there. Number 3, how can you apply this lesson in your current position, regardless of what position might be? Well, I've got 2. I'm in the classroom, and I also coach as well. And I'll just say this briefly. There has been superficial changes athletically, but there's no philosophical or program changes that have taken place as a result of that success. Success is not taking place. Let's jump to number 4. What is your takeaway as you move into a leadership role, and why do you feel this lesson is important? My takeaway is that you have to present material differently in the classroom. You've got to change the way that you evaluate students. Maybe the foundation's the same, but and lessons are the same. But I want to to make sure that there is a catalyst, and it talks about a catalyst in the text for change. Are we doing the same strategy we did five years ago? Have we tried other teaching strategies? Have we tried to do these different teaching strategies as a catalyst for change? Or are we still doing the same things the same way? Number five, I do not think one lever is more important than the other, because I believe all levers are symbiotic in nature. They rely one upon the other. They're kind of intertwined, so to speak. You think of the penguin. You've got the standard strategy and conceptions. They appear below the water, but overall the success is the long-term benefits and sustainability are successful. You think of the kitchen connection. Are we asking the right questions? What are we trying to accomplish here? What's the end result? What are we trying to accomplish? You think of the bicycle. Are you putting effort and attention into the right places? Are you putting energy into the right places? And of course, the wood and the campfire, which I've just spoken about. But I think all of these interrelate to one another. I think they rely upon one another in that. Yes.